Hi Flosstube, I'm Pam. Welcome to my channel, Stitching in the Land of Good Enough. Today is Thursday, August 1st, and this is Flosstube number 96, I think. Double check. Yes, 96. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, this is a place where I talk about cross stitch and my cross stitch shop and life updates and rambly tangents, and I mean, who knows? We never know what's going to happen here. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Thanks for checking in. I got a lot of stitching to show today, so I'm gonna probably jump right into that. But I just want to say that I had an amazing July. I apologize for not filming during it. We were just very busy last month, and it was hot. It was very hot here in my little corner of New England. And yeah, it just makes you not want to do anything, you know? Anyway, let's chat about, because I know I'm going to forget. I usually do a little bird update about what's happening in my backyard with my birds. I mean, they're not my birds, they're nature's birds, but I like to pretend that they're mine. But they're not mine anymore because we have rats in the backyard eating out of my bird feeders. So all my bird feeders had to come down. Apparently that's a thing that can happen. And so we moved recently. Well, it's been a few months now. We moved in March, literally like 5 houses up the road, maybe 3, I don't know. But like I can stand on my sidewalk and see my old house from my new house. We didn't have rats at the old house, but we are that much closer to a few restaurants. And so I'm wondering if that's the problem. I'm hoping that I can maybe try again in the winter at any rate, there will be no backyard bird updates for the rest of the summer and into the fall at least, until I'm brave enough to try it again. But yeah, I was devastated. And I had to take them down in like the hottest week we've had. And the poor little like goldfinches were like, "Where's my food?" And they were hot, and I can't talk about it. I feel terrible. I know that they are wild birds and they will find their own food. But there is this part of me that feels like, would we have as many of them in my little area if we weren't feeding them? So like, are we helping to create successful nestings because of a permanent food supply that they don't have to expend a lot of energy to find? And then in the midst, especially of the goldfinches, because they nest a little later, I've taken away their food source. Anyway, I'm devastated. That's where I am. And I know I've tried the hot seed. That does not keep rats away. They will eat the hot seed. They don't care. So there's that. Now we can talk about stitching because that's happy talk. So I think the last day I filmed was the day that I was getting out my Antiphora screw, which I stitch on once a month. I started it on Leap Day this year, and my plan every month is to stitch on it on the 29th and maybe a few extra days, and hopefully have it done by the next leap year. So this is Antiphora Screw by Rosewood Manor. I am currently working up in this corner, and I am stitching it on, I think it's 32 count Vanilla Cream by Atomic Wrench Fabrics, one of my favorite color fabrics. Just a really great neutral. And that's where we're at. So I think what I worked on in June was I finished up these red birds. They were missing a couple colors. And then I stitched this tree, and that was it, because I only worked on it one night. So it's going to take up most of it's just a little corner, but it's getting there little by little every month, except July. I didn't work on it last month, and that's because I was really trying to get a certain project done, which I'll show towards the end. Like I had a goal to get my grandson's stocking done, and yeah. So this didn't come out because it was like crunch time at the end of the month, or it wasn't going to get finished. That's okay. It's okay to skip a month. These are just like plans, but not like I don't know what, like, the stitching police aren't going to come in and berate me for not sticking 100% to my plans all the time. It's okay to break them once in a while, or every time, because sometimes we make plans knowing that we're actually not going to stick to them. But I've been pretty good this year. Okay, and then I had a new start. So I like to do a start at the start of every season, like solstice and equinox starts. And I didn't start one on the summer solstice this year, but I did start one on my vacation. So I counted it as a summer start. And this year I can only start things from charts I already own, because since opening the shop, most of the things I start are new things that come in and not things that I love that I already have. So one of the things I did on my vacation was to go through my stash, and I made a 5-year plan, which I didn't bring over here. So I know that I do seasonal starts. I know I do a New Year, new start. I know I do a birthday start. I know I start one when I go to the farm every year. So like I plugged all these start slots into the next 5 years, including like I counted this year as year 1 because I still have a bunch of starts left for this year. The bulk of my new starts actually happen at the end of the year because of my birthday and the return. Anyway, that's besides the point. Where was I going? Oh, so I called through my stash, and I've got a pile at the shop that if you pop in, you can go through because I'm giving them away. But this was one of the things that I wanted to start. It is Sweetheart Hill by Plum Street Samplers. And it's because like the weekend before my vacation, the Saturday before, one of the gals who stitches at my shop all the time, Cindy, was stitching this, and I was like, oh, this is in my stash, and I wanted to start this, and I haven't because I keep getting distracted. So I did. I am stitching it on, where's the tag? Jeez Louise, I need my glasses on. Sandy Toes, 30, jeez. I don't know why I even attempt it. 32 count, Sandy Toes by Barefoot Needle Art. Love the fabric. And I got a fairly good start on this. Although now that I'm looking at it, maybe it's not as good as I thought. Okay, so I got all of the stuff in the house done so I can just do fill-in. So my plan with this, that's like an enormous house. I also got some words and stuff down in there. So yeah, my plan with this is to make this my retreat stitching situation, because once you've got the house all like outlined, it's just a ton of fill-in. Same with this hill. So my plan is to do the same thing with the hill. And if you get the words stitched in at the bottom, which say, I belong with you, then this, all that white is fill-in. So this is like the perfect retreat piece. So that's my plan for this. So it will always get, or stitch groups when I get to stitch outside the shop. It's not a shop stitch group piece, but when I get to go stitch with friends outside of the shop, this will be one that I bring with me. So that's my plan. So that was Sweetheart Hill, Plum Street Samplers, new start. That was my summer start for, what are we in 2024? My brain is already living in 2025 and a little bit of 2026 because as a shop owner, I'm always planning ahead. So sometimes I forget what year we're actually in. It's sort of like forgetting how old you are, which I never thought would ever happen to me. And now frankly, I have no idea how old I am. I could be 46, I could be 47, I could be 48. It's one of the three. I have to do math to figure it out. Okay, so, and then I am stitching, this was an impulse start this year, the mushroom, why is that in Russian? Because it's a Russian company. I don't know what this is called, Mushrooms and Toadstools. It's the Owl Forest stitch along this year, and it's mushrooms and fungi and toadstools and stuff, and so the patterns are free. They come out every 2 weeks. You get them on Owl Forest Embroidery's website, And then, so you can stitch them on your own fabric with your own floss, or you can order the printed fabric that they're selling for the Sal and their floss, which is what I did. So it's a 30 count linen and it's printed. And here is where we're at. So I think since you saw it last, I've stitched this one, maybe this one. I can't remember if you saw that one or not. It's super cute. I love it. And then this guy over here is new. And then the one that came out on Friday goes up here, but I haven't had a chance to work on it yet. So it'll come out on Sunday. So yeah, I'm loving this. So it also has a border, which I started over here, and a little bit over here. I'm probably taking the border out. I don't think I want a border. I'm gonna wait until the very end to decide if I want the border or not, but I don't think it's necessary. Unless it becomes obvious, like up at the top or the bottom, that there's like a little detail that adds something spectacular to the project, I think I'm gonna leave the border off. So here's where we're at. This one is super fun. I was a little sad I did not get to take it out this weekend to work on it this past weekend, but I needed to get that stocking done, like mission. I was mission oriented. Okay. And then I worked a little bit on my shop project. So I have a project I always work on if I have a chance to stitch at Stitch Group here, which is every Wednesday night and every Saturday. And I am working on, where is part 3? Quilting ABCs by Erica Michaels. I am currently working on part 3. I finished part 2. I don't remember if I did show you that I finished part 2. So this is being stitched on 32 count, antique white, and here is where we're at. So since you've seen it last, I started part 3. Really, really like this block. Yeah. This is super fun. The nice thing about it is, because honestly, quilting is not my thing. I'm not stitching this for my house. I'm stitching this for the shop. But that being said, even though quilting is not my thing, the colors are fun. And every time I finish a little block, it's like a little mini finish. And every time I finish a row so I complete a section, I feel like I've won something. And so it's motivating to work on. Although I have not worked on it at every Stitch Group at the shop this month because I've been trying to get that stocking done. So, which I keep talking about, which you're going to see pretty soon. So I actually broke my rule about working only on this at the shop and worked on the stocking at the shop. So, but I felt like that was okay because it was Christmas in July and we were doing a Christmas in July sale at the shop. So it felt appropriate to be working on a stocking. That's how I'm making it work in my head. All right, I need a little drink. It's super hot today. Like tropical outside. It's so humid and I don't want to turn the AC on yet in the shop because it's so loud. Like if you've watched any of my past videos, when the heat's on or the AC's on, it's really, I have to yell over it because, I mean, as you can see up here, the ductwork is all open because the ceilings are so high. Okay. And then it was Hawk Run Hollow time. So I host a Hawk Run Hollow Zoom every month, the second Thursday of every month. If you are stitching a Hawk Run Hollow and you want to get in on that Zoom, shoot me an email at the shop, which is stitchnewengland@gmail.com, and I'll get you added to the list. So it was Hawk Run Hollow time. So that came out. I am stitching a year at Hawk Run Hollow, and I am currently working on the very last block. It needs to get done this year. And I did not get a ton. Where is it? So this is being stitched on 40 count Legacy by Picture This Plus. And here is where we're at. I just got a little bit of like that snowy mountain outline situation done and maybe a couple of trees in there. I can barely see it. Yeah. So there's a couple of trees and some snowy mountain outline and that's it. So my friend Susan, who stitches with us on our Zooms, said to me, because I'm going to an event next week down in Virginia, and she'll be at it, that if I brought it, she would stitch on it a little bit for me. And I might take her up on that. So Susan, if you are watching, I mean, you said, so it's a thing now, because I'm going to be away next week. And so it's not going to come out. And that's like a month that it's getting not stitched on, and it needs to get finished before the end of the year. But I'm already thinking about which one I want to do next. So next year I think I'm going to do spring at Hawthorne Hollow, because the colors are just really bright and really fun. And my husband is texting me. I hope he doesn't call. That'll be annoying. Okay. Not that I don't love my husband, but I'm trying to film a Flosstube. And then the stocking. So I needed to get this done because I really wanted to get it done in July so that I could get it off to my friend Deb so she could finish it, so I can give it to the baby for Christmas. And because one of the other ones I'm going to show at the very end, Sir Thomas, I'd like to have hanging on my wall for November, which means if I didn't get the stocking done in July, then I really wasn't going to have enough time to work on Sir Thomas. So this is the stocking I'm doing for my grandbaby. It is Parker's Stocking by Shepherd's Bush. I mean, his name isn't Parker, so I changed the name. But it's super cute. This is the second one I've done. They are loads of fun. Even if you are an Aida stitcher, you could stitch this on Aida. You stitch it on 20 count linen, which is really big. So if you are an Aida stitcher, it might be a linen you could still work with. You do have to stitch it over 2. But you stitch it over 2 with the number 5 pearl cotton. So it's just super fun to stitch on. But it's definitely easier to count if you're not a linen stitcher. It's an easier linen to work with. But you could do like a 20 count Aida and stitch over 2 and get the same size. So if you're an Aida stitcher. Anyway, here is where we are at. I cannot say that I got it finished, but I did get all the stitching done. So tonight I'm going to take it home and put the beads and the charms on, and then it will be finished August 1st. So here, oh my gosh, here's where we're at. This was wicked fun, like wicked fun. My favorite part was the Santa with his reindeer down at the bottom in that row of houses. I'm going to get you up close. Don't judge my stitching because it's not my best, but I figure it's going to be a working stocking. It's going to get abused, and so it's not that important. Top row, super fun. And here comes Santa. Oh my gosh. So he gets a little button nose. That's why his face is a little empty. I love that. I can't tell. Is Santa putting on the stick, or is the snowman like, oh my goodness, Santa just took my arm off? I'm not sure what's happening there. And get a little sheep and some little presents. And then this is the best part, like right down here. I love this. This row of houses. So the row of houses is over like 2 stitches too far in the wrong direction, like to this way. But the stocking curves right here. So I'm not super worried about it. So cute. I love this. And then I get to start a new one. Not this year. I'll start one next year, and it will be for me. So I've now stitched one for my husband, and this one's for the grandbaby because he came before me. And then I'm gonna stitch one for me. So my husband and I will have stockings because we had stockings when we were kids, but we've never had stockings as adults. So I wish I could say that I got that finished last month, but I did not. But it will get finished tonight, so it will just be one day late. And I kind of feel like the stitching is done. It's kind of done, you know? Okay. And so then I had to have a new start because I also host a Fancy Folk Zoom on the 4th Thursday of every month, which is for anybody who is stitching a fancy folk. And I use that term loosely. It does not have to be like one of the fancy ladies or fancy fellas or fancy mermaids or whatever. It could be, like anybody who is fancy. So if you are stitching a fox in a dress, that's fancy. If you are stitching Cross Stitch Nation with all those fancy dresses, that's fancy. You know what I'm saying? There's some folks who stitch on there who are stitching Heads, Heaven and Earth designs that have like a really fancy person in them. So anyway, if you are stitching a fancy folk, most of us, I will be honest though, are stitching like Mirabilias or Bella Filipinas or that sort of thing. So if you are stitching something like that and you are interested in joining, again, shoot me an email. So I had to start a new one because I finished Touching the Autumn Sky last month. So, not last month, in June. So I had to start a new one. And again, because I have to start things I already own, I only had two choices. And one of them I had lost somewhere in the move. Luckily, I found it because it's the one I chose, which is Blackbird by Nora Corbett. So, and then it took me forever to find a fabric that I was in love with, which ended up being 28 count soft fur by Fur Like the Tree, F-I-R, by Atomic Ranch. And I'm really hoping I've oriented this properly. I'm gonna measure this before I leave. I gotta tell you, it doesn't look like it's gonna fit, and I get really anxious about it, but I've done the math like 50 times. So here was my start. I did not work on it as much as I would have liked to because stocking. Am I showing it? Yeah. So, but I'm feeling pretty good about it, and there's no timeline for this, so if it takes me the next 3 years to work on, so be it. There's no rush. I don't need it finished for any particular reason. It will just come out every month during Fancy Folk. And I will say, for those of you who stitch these patterns they're like on one big piece of paper, front and back, and they're hard for, I need to highlight these. So I did go to Staples and make myself a working copy. It's on 2 sheets of paper, and I'm just gonna show a teeny tiny, I'm just gonna show like how big, you can't see the pattern. So how, like, it is when this situation unfolds, it's enormous. But when I tell you the chart is so big, but it did cost me at Staples for them to do 2 sheets of this pattern and make it like really big. It was like the cost of getting the pattern again. So I basically paid for 2 patterns. But now I can highlight to my heart's content. Okay. And then lastly, I stitched on just last night at the shop because all my things were here because I thought I was going to film yesterday morning and I didn't. And I'm kind of in like get the turkey done mode. So I got out Sir Thomas by Glendon Place. I love him. He was a birthday start for me in 2022 because I am a Thanksgiving baby. I'm a turkey baby. And my friend Deborah, who stitches at the shop, is also a turkey baby. We share the same birthday. And so we started this together. And we are both trying to get her done this year. So, well, he's a him. And then, so he can hang on our wall at Thanksgiving. And here is where we are at. I am so darn close. He is being stitched on 28 count antique white. I recently seen someone stitch him on a really pretty mint green, and now I'm regretting my decision. If I was going to stitch him again, he'd probably be on mint green. But anyway, I'm happy with this. So I just have, obviously he has beads at the end, so I haven't even gotten to beads yet. But I have down here to do. So there's a bunch of these like stripy feather situations. I've got stitching in here to do, and then I've got one more corner, and then beading, and then he's done. Totally doable, but I've really got to pay attention to him this month and next month because I'd like to get him to the framer by mid-October. It would be really fun to have him on the ta-da table at my retreat this year. So maybe that should be my goal, which means I need to have him done by the beginning of October so he can get to the framer in time to be at the retreat. Okay, so that was my stitching this month, which brings us to, where did you come from? This is somebody's floss. It might be my shop. Okay, we're gonna pretend that didn't happen. Okay, so we were doing a giveaway last month, and we were giving away a bobbin bed that my friend Tracy, OG Stitchery, made. And the winner for that was Amy Wickhouse. So Amy, I have your address already. It's gonna go off into the mail today, maybe tomorrow. Congratulations. And then I didn't pull something for a giveaway for this month, but I am thinking, why don't we give away Parker's Stocking by Shepherd's Bush? So that was the stocking that I just worked on. I have an extra copy. So we're gonna give that away, and you just have to use the word stocking in your comment and be 18 and have filled out the Happy Mail contact form situation I have in the description box below. Yeah, that works. Just winging it, holy moly. Okay. And then I did have a little bit of haul, not a lot of haul. So one of the things, I love having a shop, but one of the things that I have missed since opening the shop is being able to stitch with my friends not at Stitch Group here. Because Stitch Group here, I'm up and down, I'm up and down, and I'm up and down. I'm still working. I'm not totally relaxed and like settling in, and you know. I love Stitch Group here, don't get me wrong, but it's not the same as being out of the shop at Stitch Group. So another cross stitch store opened in Massachusetts. So now there are 3 of us, which is so exciting. And it's called The Threaded Needle. It's in Grafton, Mass. And this wonderful woman, Alice, owns it. And she has a Stitch Group on Sunday nights once a month. I think it's the first Sunday. It could be the second. I'm honestly not sure. But last month I went and stitched at it with my friend Deborah, and I met a nice group of ladies. Some I had already met like through retreats in my shop and stuff. So it was just a really good time. And of course I had to get something or 2 things. It was hard to control myself. And it's so funny because I've had this one in the shop, but it's hard. Sometimes I don't keep things I like for me. So I got Chubby Fox by Jeanette Douglas. So cute, so cute. I would have gotten Chubby Bird too, but she was out. But now I'm gonna have to get Chubby Bird, which I actually think I may already own, but then I just went through my stash and I didn't see it. So, anyway. So I got Chubby Fox. And she had these cute little kits from Old Colonial. So this was Spring Bird Stack. And this is where models are important, because I would never have bought this, even though I love birds, off of the picture. But she had it stitched up and it was stinking adorable. So I had to get it. And it comes with the linen and the floss and the wood thing and all that. So I'm really excited about that. I can't start it this year though, because I didn't already own it. So that was a teeny tiny little bit of haul for me. And then, holy moly, I'm dying. It's like hot in here. So let's do a little shop update. Next week, we are gonna be closed. The online store will still be open, but nothing will ship till we're back. So we'll be closed from the 4th to the 13th. Some of those days are days we already would be closed, but it's just easier for me to say the 4th to the 13th, because we will be vending, we're hosting an event with Barefoot Needle Art down in Virginia called North Meets South. And it's one of those events in which you could show up and get a day pass and just shop and stitch in the lobby, and you don't have to have already registered, if that makes sense. So if you are interested, if you're in the area and you'd like to get some stitchy stash situation happening and meet other stitchers, and it'll be a good time, I think. I'm gonna have the website in the description box below. I think it's called North Meets South Needleworkshowcase.com is the website. So I'm gonna be there doing the things. And my parents will be there. They're coming down to help. It's gonna be a good time. In the hub, Kevin will be with me. So anyway, the point of this being, the shop will not be open, which I am a little sad about because it's Massachusetts tax-free weekend, which I did not think about when we were planning this. But if you are locally New England, Massachusetts is doing their tax-free holiday weekend on not this weekend coming up, but next weekend. The 11th and 12th. Does that make sense? That might be the Saturday and Sunday. Okay. And then what else do we need to talk about? Needlework Marketplace. So at the end of August, there is another big market that happens. It's virtual this time versus when we all go down to Tennessee. So this one is virtual. It's called Needlework Marketplace. And I have already started putting up pre-orders on the website. So if you go to the shop section of the website, there is a section, a tab that says, it should be on your left, but it depends on whether you're on your laptop or your phone or whatever. There's a dedicated section called 2024 Needlework Marketplace pre-orders. So if you are interested in pre-ordering anything for Marketplace, they are all there. I am trying to we get so many emails at once. I'm trying to get through all the emails and get them uploaded on there. But if you've seen something on social media that I don't have on the website, shoot me an email and I'll be happy to get it ordered for you. And we're going to take pre-orders right through August 22nd because the marketplace starts on the 23rd. So I don't want to have to, I'll already have my lists and everything prepared. So that is happening, which is always fun. It gets a lot of fun things into the shop all at once. And then I have a few things new in the shop to show you. And then I think we'll be done. And hopefully it won't be forever and a half until I film again. Okay, so the Mill Hill buttons and beads kits for this year, the winter ones are out. I didn't bring them all over here. I did bring my 3 favorites. So this one I love because it's got a woodpecker. It's called Winter Woodpecker. He's adorable. I love woodpeckers. My poor backyard birds. Anyway, I liked that one. And then I really liked this one. This one is Feather Tree. So if you have not done one of these kits before, they come with everything you need. They come with the perforated paper and all the floss and the beads and your needles and all that stuff. They don't come with the frame, but you can order these frames. They're made just for these to just fit right in when you're done. I have most of these in the shop right now, I think. Anyway, Feather Tree. And lastly, we don't own a camper, although it is my husband's dream to have a camper. He wants me to stitch this so bad. This one is called Christmas Camper. He loves this. I think he thinks like if I stitch it, it will happen. Like if you build it, it will come. Is that? If you build it, they will come. If I stitch it, the camper will, like I'm gonna manifest a camper through my stitching. I don't know. Anyway, it is really cute. And then the latest Fabulous House is in. This is the best one I think so far. I absolutely love this. Lighthouse, I can't. I know that there are fish in the sky. They're flying fish. And there's a little ship. I can't. She hit it out of the ballpark with that one. And then the latest fragment, the latest Summer House Stitchworks. I saw Fragments in Time, and that's what I wanted to say. They are also the latest in the Fragments in Time series for this year. So these are number 5 and 6. So those are in the shop. And the last in this series is in the greatest of these. So we have Faith and Hope and now Love. And they all use the same colors. I really like these. Okay. And then lastly, I'm not going to live long enough to stitch all the things I want to stitch. The newest Nora Corbetts. So in real life, I detest moths. Like if they're fluttery, it gives me the heebie-jeebies. I don't want them near me. I don't want them to touch me. Like I really, 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 really don't like them. They're up there with spiders. But I don't mind stitching them. And these are moth ladies. So this is Mother Moth. And this, oh my gosh, this one is Miss Moon Moth. I love her so much. Love her. But this one coming up is my favorite. Miss Furry Moth. Like, she is so glamorous. She has a little bit of a Maleficent vibe, I think. If Maleficent and a moth had a baby, this would be it. I just, oh, love it. I'm coming to the realization that I might just really be a fancy lady stitcher. Like, I really, really, really love them. Speaking of fancy ladies, that made me think of my friend Amy, which then made me think that I got into a couple of retreats in July as well. My goal is to go to a new retreat every year. And I was supposed to go to Stitch North this year, and I had to cancel because we were having a grandbaby who was due within weeks of Stitch North. So I had to cancel it, and I was a little devastated. I go to Stitch In at the Farm every year, which happens in New Hampshire in November. But then I like to also, and then I host a retreat in October for the shop, but then I also like to try something new. So for 2025, I'm doing 2 new things because I missed one this year. Mostly because I had serious, I don't want to say FOMO, because FOMO stands for fear of missing out. And it's not a fear of missing out, it's an envy. So it's more like a MOE, a missing out envy. All my friends were at Library Stitchers Retreat this year, and I was super sad I was not there. So I did register for Library Stitchers Retreat, and I did get in. So I'm super excited about that. And I got into Queen City Stitchers Retreat is hosting next year a chatelaine retreat. Now you may be thinking, Pam, I've been watching you for years now and you are not stitching a chatelaine. And I would say you are correct, but I will be stitching a chatelaine. I'm waiting for my things to come in. I ordered the silk pack from European Cross Stitch. I'm gonna be doing mini Tudor mandala 1, because there's 4. And I'm super, super excited to be going to the chatelaine retreat, which is in July. So I got into that one too. So I'm gonna have a full slate next year. Sometimes I think, what am I doing? You're a crazy person, Pam. Sometimes. Anyway, so I was really like ecstatic about that. I'm like pumped. And I think that's it. Do I have anything else to say? I don't think so. Okay, so we're good. We are 40 minutes in, just shy of, and the AC is gonna kick on in 30 minutes or maybe before if I can't tough it out. And I hope that you guys are all staying cool because it's been a hot one this summer, and that you are all safe and healthy and happy and getting tons of stitching in. And that's it. I'll see you all next month. Bye, everyone.